We're back with Congressman George Santos. I'd like to continue our discussion on defense for a minute, because one of the things that's going on in the state is that upstate Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, a fellow Republican who I think supported your candidacy originally, has worked hard to have New York, Fort Drum, listed as a third location for a missile defense system. But the Defense Department has said we don't need it. I wonder how you come down on that, and whether you think that the Defense Department should actually build a third missile defense system there, because New York City and New York are going to be a prime target, God forbid, if there was ever an attack either by Russia or by North Korea.
Look, I support the Congresswoman's fight for that. I also simultaneously support our Joint Chiefs and our military. I think they know what they're doing. I actually know they know what they're doing, and I rely on their experience to guide us in the best direction. Although I share your sentiment that we will be the first target, God forbid something were to happen. New York's always the first target, right?
So don't we need missiles to go after to try to kill other missiles?
I think so. I think so.
So you're going to increase defense spending?
So, stop trying to say that. You keep saying that. Come on. No, I think I leave it to the capable hands of the people who are in charge of making those decisions. Look, if they think that the proximity of the bases nearby are sufficient to protect New York, then, you know, they understand this better than you and I, right, Marcia? So I rely on them. Now, if they come to us and say, no, we now need funding for Fort Drum and we do need a missile defense system there, we should appropriate those funds, because this is national security. We're not talking about just frivolous spending. We're talking about national security. Everything goes.
So let's talk about the presidential primary. You have a candidate?
I think
there's a lot of people running.
I know, it's so fun. It's 16 all over again. But we all know who's going to win the primary. It's a waste of time and money. Republicans should just stop this.
So you're saying you're going to support
Donald Trump?
Is that
I did it in 15 when I was made fun of it by Republicans. Republicans used to mock me for being a Trump supporter in 15.
But there's certain questions about a person who's been indicted and in New York, but there's also other investigations that could lead to other charges being filed. Doesn't that give you pause to support somebody who's been indicted and could be convicted?
Okay, so yes, indictments should be taken seriously, but a lot of Americans hear the word indicted and associate it with guilt. Indictments are formal accusations in order to have a proceeding. So it's a formal accusation. He's innocent until proven guilty. This is just a procedural matter.
If he gets convicted,
which I don't foresee. What Alvin Bragg did was a political stunt, actually unbecoming of the DA, who has allowed women, the Jewish community, the Asian community to run at risk by downgrading felonies, by downgrading illegal, unlawful gun possessions, by absolutely having no regard for the rule of law. When you walk into a CVS, you have to press buttons to get eye drops, to get toothpaste. I mean, it's become ridiculous, the city, with what he's done to it. So, but to pursue him.
It's not just the Alvin Bragg case, though. There are other cases that are, you know, there's one in Georgia that deals with election tampering. There's two in Washington.
Predominantly led by people who ran on the guises of, I will prosecute Trump. That was campaign.
So
these are campaign promises.
By any of these charges.
Look, there's concern. I'm not going to lie to you, but I still support him until you know, proven guilty, and I don't believe he's going to be found guilty.
So if he was proven guilty, would that change your support?
I mean, if the man's convicted, he can't even run for office.
That's not true.
I mean, how could you? That's my question.
He says he's going to.
Okay.
So would you change your mind?
I think Trump did great for this country. I think he was a great president, fiscally, economically. Look at where we were. Look at where we are. People like to say he added more to the deficit than any other president in modern history. Of course, he had a global pandemic on his plate. He had to. And if he hadn't, you would have said he was a genocidal lunatic. So this is the quandrum that he gets caught and put in every time. Trump was a great president for this economy. He was a great administrator. He ran the country like a business, and people did better, and they were better off for him. But I'm not shy about saying that I support him, and I think he will be the next president of the United States again.
the Democrats are hoping that that's not the case. In fact, the Democrats say they want to have Trump run because they think it can help them recapture all those Republican seats. Read that to mean your seat, that the seats that went Republican the last election.
I can see some seats could be reclaimed, but
will your seat be reclaimed?
Absolutely not. Whether it's me or another Republican will win it, because a seat that voted 10% for Joe Biden and then swung to 8.5% for me, that's not a seat Joe Biden picks up or the Democrats pick up no time soon. That is a Republican seat, Marcia.
Are there other seats on Long Island that you could see reverting back to the Democrats in the next election?
Sure, like the seat like the 4th Congressional District, and this is no dig at the congressman there, Anthony D'Esposito. It's just...
Well, he's one of your biggest critics.
That's too bad. I don't care.
Are you saying that because he's your...
No, I'm not. I'm being objective. I won by 8.5%, and he won by 2-3%. So the facts of the matter are that the numbers don't lie. Numbers are there. They don't lie. They're not fudgeable. The margins are bigger. The district is going to stay Republican, and I believe the 4th Congressional District is a tough one, although he is doing a good job for his district from what I can see based on his photo ops on social media. But that doesn't necessarily mean that anything is a lock. Look, we won't know what seats go which way until Election Day. That's just a reality.
But what about the other Republican seats? Mike Lawler, Mark Molinaro, upstate Republicans.
I don't follow upstate politics.
No, I just wonder if you think that they're going to be vulnerable with a Trump at the top of your table.
That's a question better served for consultants, not me. I don't pretend to be a political consultant.
So, Congressman, you've been the fodder of late-night comedians. You've been a favorite joke on a lot of these Saturday talk shows, Saturday Night Live and others. I wonder if you have a favorite joke that's been told about you that actually made you laugh.
There was one. And it became a jargon in our office. So everybody's fizzing about my name because I have a long name, George Anthony DeVolder Santos. I went by Anthony my entire life because of my mom, and then eventually professionally I started using George as an adult. But there was this Boeing Yang reiteration on Saturday Night Live that he essentially says, George Santos, and then folds his hand and goes, but Miss DeVolder if you're nasty. So I thought that was funny. And in the office, we always joke around if I'm in a mood because I'm antsy and I want to see legislative text and stuff like that. They're like, oh boy, Ms. DeVolder's in town today because I'm antsy. So it's become a jargon. It's funny. But look, I don't think any of them did a good job because they don't know me and there's not enough historic footage of me on camera for them to understand my mannerisms. The only thing they could get right is my look, which is great. It's flattery.
So if you could do it, if you could tell a joke yourself on yourself, what joke would you tell? Oh,
I always do the self-deprecating jokes, the fat jokes. Those are easy, so I have fun with those. So, I also make fun. So here's a great one. People like to make fun of me. Oh, he has fake lips. He has Botox. He has this. I'm like, well, at least I could afford it. Most people.
Do you have fake lips?
Oh, Marcia.
You brought it up.
Marcia, I wouldn't tell you that.
You wouldn't tell me that? Here we're having this wonderful conversation. You won't get after you brought it up.
I represent Long Island. I can't tell you these things. These are trade secrets.
So. I want to go back to the debt ceiling for a second. I mean, do you think that there will be some kind of deal made so that we will avoid,
Yes. We won't. I can't fathom the president, the speaker, and Leader Schumer in the Senate doing anything to hurt the country and to put us...
So where do you see the compromise?
I think there's going to be lots of compromise. The reality is they're going to want...
Are Republicans going to have to compromise?
I think everybody's going to have to compromise, so long as we're not spending out of control. Because look, here's a position that I hold.
We have about 30 seconds left.
Here's a position. If we go back to 2019 spending, we'd have a 28% surplus. We just got to cut all the fat from COVID. There's a lot of COVID fat still lingering out there. If you go into the budget and cut that, you have a 28% surplus. If you adjust it for inflation, let's be generous and give it 50%, 14% surplus. Pay down a little bit of the debt.
So we're going to have to leave it right there for now. But our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York.